This is it, the final show of 2013. This is our Android Week with Alan Firstenberg in New York, Bruce Turner in Lynchburg, Virginia, Duke Carico in Kingsport, Tennessee, Michael Banks in Augusta, Georgia, and Nate Swanner in Portland, Oregon. This is our Android Week. Welcome all. Good to have you with us. Let's introduce our panelists. We have Mr. Alan Firstenberg. Welcome, Alan.
Hey, Dan.
You looking forward to New Year's? You gonna watch the ball drop or whatever they do?
No, probably not.
You're obviously a big festive dude. And then of course, Duke Carico joins us. Duke, welcome.
Oh, thank you. Glad to be here, Dan.
Now you have a new phone.
Oh, yes. Yes, I do.
Would you like to show it off to us?
I'll tell you what. Let me try this right here. This is the Nexus 5, and what a great device. You know, when you read about Google saying, or, you know, these reviewers saying that it's more Google than it is Android, you can't appreciate. See there, I said Google, and look what happened.
That happens on my desktop. I'll be watching a TV show, and all of a sudden it'll go crazy.
Yeah, it's but it's a great phone, great device. I guess the one thing that I want to say, you know, I had the original Note, and I cannot believe the speed of this phone. It's just tremendous. I think I'd just grown accustomed to the lag that was coming with the Note, and man, I can't say enough about this. Hey, my message to anybody out there: if you drop your phone in a toilet or you run over it or whatever, get a Nexus 5. I'm telling you, man, what a tremendous device.
Okay, now let me ask you this. I have a Note 2, so you have the big Note is what, 6 inches or something? 5.5?
The Note, yeah, the Note that I had was 5.3 inch screen. This is a 4.95. I really haven't noticed any less screen real estate. I really haven't.
So I would, but I'll tell you, mine, the Note 2, it's a problem to type one-handed. It's almost too big for that. It's great when you're watching something, right? A video, whatever. But do you find that you can do one-handed operation well with the 5-inch?
I can't, and you know what? And I've got small hands. People comment because I'm a guitar player that I have small hands, but I can. Let me see if I can show you here. I can reach totally across this device here. You can see where there's my thumb. So I mean, it's you can definitely one-hand this device.
Okay, cool, awesome.
You know, Duke, I really think that's just a glowing endorsement. The phone to get if you drop your phone in the toilet.
What can I say? Yeah.
All right. Cool. Awesome. Yeah, I may look at one of those when I get a new phone. I think I bought my last carrier phone with all the bloatware and crap.
It's great, and I'm going to be honest with you. The phone came in the mail, and I won't tell you that story. That was a disaster. It was actually delivered to the wrong house.
Luckily, you have an honest neighbor.
Luckily, I saw the UPS driver. I was actually walking by my front door and saw the UPS driver, and I was like, oh, he's bringing me my phone. He's just stopping at a neighbor's house. No, he took my phone to the wrong house. But anyway, I got the phone, and the next thing I proceeded to do was butcher the SIM. It calls for a micro SIM. I didn't have one. I thought I could cut it up, so I couldn't get it to work. So the next day I took it to the AT&T store. The guy that I dealt with was so cool. And he had just gotten the Moto X, and I was playing with his Moto X. He was playing with my Nexus 5. And I'll tell you what's the truth. AT&T gets a bad rep. This was this guy who worked there, service guy, such a great guy, was telling me about tethering apps and how to get by with it with AT&T without paying for it. So it was a good trip to AT&T. And so far with this phone, I have nothing but positive. I really don't have any negative. I will tell you, I went into this worried about battery life. 2,300 milliamp hour battery, and I thought this just isn't going to be enough. So far, battery life has been a non-issue. I don't want to say that it won't be going forward, but I mean, new device. I've used it pretty heavily, and I'm getting through, you know, all day with the battery that's in it. So good news on that so far.
Hopefully that'll continue, and you won't have the battery life creep issue that we've all
Yeah,
experienced in the past.
sure,
But I
sure,
think that's supposed to be getting better with the new versions of Android, right?
yeah, right.
Okay.
And we'll see. I'll let you know going forward.
Okay. Awesome. Great. So, a new phone for the new Duke. Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, so coming up next, our first topic, other than Duke's phone, which is way cool, is this interesting story. Uh, it's on Fox News, and it's a tech story, but PC makers plan rebellion, they say, against Windows at 2014 CES. And the basic thing here, I'll read the first paragraph. Fearing rapidly plummeting sales of traditional laptops and desktop computers, which collapsed by as much as 10% in 2013, manufacturers are planning a revolution against Microsoft and the standard Windows operating system, analysts say. And what they're talking about is some of these dual boot, the term they're using is PC Plus machines that will boot with Android or Windows 8.1 or 8.2 or what have you. Alan, do you think how much of this is a quote-unquote rebellion against Windows, and how much of this is just the natural progression as more and more people are familiar with tablets, iPads, and Nexus-type tablets, and it just makes sense that dual boot machines would be here or be coming?
Well, but here's the, I think it is a rebellion against Windows, because if it wasn't, they'd use Windows tablets. But they're not, because nobody seems to like Windows tablets for some reason. So they're trying to lure people over in a desperate hope to maybe convince them that it's not so bad. And hey, if it is bad, you still have this Android tablet, so it's not a total loss.
I wonder what those pawn shop guys would give for a Windows tablet.
Probably nothing, because nobody likes Windows.
But you can run apps with it.
Yeah.
Duke, what do you think about this? Would you be interested in a dual boot? I would.
Oh, absolutely. And first of all, let me tell you, I've been predicting this for a while. I personally, I feel it's a little bit of both. I think it's a Windows rebellion, but I think if you look, suddenly we've got Windows machines that run on ARM. We've got Android that's capable of running on Intel or Intel chips. And I think that this is kind of a natural progression. And if you look at the PC sales and how they've just been terrible for 2013, and there's stories all over the internet in the last 2 weeks about how Chromebooks are selling better than Windows laptops, so forth, etc. I really do think this is more of a natural progression. I mean, we've got touch screens. Windows now does touch screens. Android does touch screens. I think this is natural progression, and I think it'll help the PC industry to sell more laptops. I really do.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea, and I think it's a natural thing, and we'll see. I mean, Windows 8 sucks, and thank God. I'm thinking about buying a new machine mainly for video editing. And luckily, you can still get the OEM version of Windows 7, which is a good operating system.
Well, Windows 7, I think it's good, but I've got 3 Windows 8 machines here. And when it comes to speed and stability, Windows 8 rocks. I'm sorry it does, but it's just, there's so many things, because when I go to work, I still live in the Windows 7 environment. And it seems like if I'm going to do something on Windows 8 I haven't done in a while, I miss that start key. I miss that start button, to where, I can go through that in my mind to start. Oh, yeah, I want this, and it's going to be here.
Isn't it supposed to be coming back in 8.2?
Well, I've heard that.
And there's a hack now, right? Isn't there a hack or some kind of thing you can get?
Oh, well, there's like Start 8, and there's others out there that you can add the start button back. And it works pretty good. I've used it on a machine or two. I'm not using it on any right now. But the point that I'm trying to make is, it's not that Windows 8 is a bad operating system, but the interface for desktop for Windows 8 sucks at present, okay?
Do you think if you were building a video editing machine, would you use 8 or would you use 7? What would you put on it? Building a new one.
I'd use OS X.
you might be better off with Mac. I mean, I don't know the video editing software you're going for, what the software package is, but if it runs on Mac, I might look Mac awfully hard. I can't believe I just said that, but
yeah, I mean, Mac's gotten a lot of heat over the years, but for the most recent MacBook Pro, there have been people who have been trying to build the equivalent system in Windows, and it costs more there.
yeah, I've heard that.
The Mac Pro is really expensive, but the MacBook Pro is comparatively a lot of bang for your buck.
The Mac Pro is really expensive. The equivalent Windows machine is even more expensive. Anyway.
Okay.
So more on Mac this week.
All right. Next up is another natural progression. This story from the Wall Street Journal about Audi. Apple and Android are both, Google and Apple are both working with car manufacturers, and they highlighted they expect that Audi will announce, the German car manufacturer will announce with Google that they're working to develop an in-car entertainment and information system using Android software. So I think this is obvious. I mean, we first saw this sort of thing with the OnStar years ago with initially the higher end GM products, and then now I guess you can buy it for any car. But it's kind of, OnStar is sort of obsolete in the way that a dedicated GPS, Garmin GPS device is semi-obsolete because your phone will do all those things. But I do think that this makes sense. What do you think, Alan?
I think you're looking at an extremely, extremely narrow aspect of it, and when you actually look at the bigger aspect of it, you'll be even more blown away. It's not just, oh yeah, you're going to have a cell phone built into a car. It's that your car is going to have an operating system that you are going to have access to. And your car is an operating system now, but it's a custom operating system that the car dealer, that the car manufacturer controls completely. And now by opening up, either by going with Android or with iOS, they're introducing both some amazing prospects and some scary possibilities to it. And that's pretty exciting to me.
Well, one thing I can think, Duke, I could see someone, parental controls over the car, right? You'd know where your kid was, how fast the kid was going. You could probably start your car from your phone, just like your electric coffee maker, all sorts of things. What do you think about this? This is...
Well, I mean, if we're going to dream about, really having cars that, have personal computer access, what I would like is, I start my Toyota truck up and it's running rough. And wouldn't it be nice if I had that app interface with my phone to where it could not only tell me what's wrong with it, but what it's going to cost to fix it, and when the next appointment is at my local Toyota dealership to where I can get it in and get it addressed. That's really what I'm looking for when we talk about smart cars. I'm not looking about how it's just an interface for my phone in the stereo system.
I agree with Duke. Yeah, it's great to have it, the entertainment system. Yeah, sure, that's fine, Marvy. But you know what? What's even going to be much more exciting is having it be a real part of the car. Letting it track my mileage for me and automatically update my spreadsheet.
Exactly.
It's those features. It's reporting back to the dealership when I want it to, just sending back the diagnostics automatically. It's
you being able to write apps for your car.
Exactly.
You could write your own car apps. Once you put that out there, who knows what apps you're going to, and that's both the exciting and the scary part about it. Now they'll be hacking into your car. I could see an episode of 24.
Well, they do that now, Dan. That's pretty easy to do. The OnStar system is completely insecure. There have been a lot of demonstrations about breaking into cars using the OnStar system. But, I think what's most interesting to me is the approach that Apple is taking towards this and the approach that Google is taking towards this are completely different. Apple is saying, hey, the Apple approach is basically you're going to be able to dock your iPhone or your iPad into the car, and the two will work together through this interface. The Google approach is your car is going to run Android, and as it's running Android, you get all the power of running Android. You don't need your phone. It is a computer, and since it's already a computer, that makes a lot of sense.
I can see people. My Audi just got KitKat.
Well, that actually it raises an interesting problem, actually, because how often do automobile manufacturers update their cars once they sell them? They don't.
Be worse than Google TV, man. I'm still running Honeycomb on my Google TV. There you go.
Yeah, car manufacturers aren't used to this concept of actually updating. So you're stuck with the OS you get unless you run CyanogenMod on your car.
I guess you could. I guess they'll be making deals with carriers to update firmware in the same way that Amazon made a deal with the Kindle.
Reassuring.
If it was a Windows car,
the operating system on my car.
If it was a Windows car, every Tuesday you would just randomly slow down and have to pull over to the side of the road and wait for the reboot for this every Tuesday going to work.
Well, and I can see too going into the Audi dealership and saying, "I'll take that one in black and AT&T."
Would you get a free car? You can get an Audi for $99 with a 2-year deal.
I was going to say, can you get a subsidized car? That might actually work.
There you go.
Okay, these crazy Germans. Well, that's neat. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see what happens and what kind of interesting apps. Can you think of any? Since you're a big Glass developer, by the way, if you're interested in developing with Google Glass, look for the Helpouts with Alan Firstenberg, 5-star reviews on Helpouts. Alan, can you think of, if it's not banned, can you think of any Glass automobile coordination apps?
Oh, I can think of tons. I think, having Glass be able to talk to your car directly and use it to present some of the information that would be on your dashboard. Instead of having it on your dashboard, have it closer to you. That was, by itself, one incredibly powerful tool. Can you picture having a rear view camera mounted in your car, projecting and displaying as on your glass instead of on some console display there? So now you've got a true rear view mirror in just about the exact same location that the rear view mirror is located on your car. A lot of powerful things like that.
Okay, another reason to get a ticket. So we'll see. All right, so next up is this is kind of a two-pronged topic. This Galaxy Note, there's a $70 charging cover. The cover is kind of neat, and I like that it's got the hole through it so you can see the screen even though the cover's closed, but it's got a built-in wireless charging feature. So I guess any comments on this? And also I wanted to ask, are they gonna, do they have, or are they gonna make a cover? It'd be neat if my phone, this is my phone somewhere, I think it's in my car. If you're like, this is how you charge the phone, right? And then if you had something that would plug in there in your cover, and you could just, I could turn any phone into a wireless charging phone. In other words, you get a wireless charger and you'd have a case integrated with a little USB thing, and you could just set it down. Does that exist?
What?
What if you could get a case that had a USB plug built into the case, and it had wireless charging built into the case, so it would turn any phone into a wireless charging phone. I could just set the phone with the case on my pad or whatever, and it would charge it up through the USB port. Huh?
Cute but bulky.
I don't know. It could be like a thing.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Okay, so that's a loser idea?
No, it's a hit. Patented.
I'm not aware of that product, but I think I know where you're going. Suppose, you had the some of these phones have these extended batteries, okay? And so the extended battery fits on the back of the phone, but then it plugs into your USB port. Well, what if that extended battery was also a wireless charger to where you could just lay the phone with the battery? Is that where you're going with that?
No,
Well,
I'm saying, what if right now you can get a wireless charging phone? Well, I'm saying that what if you had a case that just had a little thing, like maybe a little wire and a USB thing that would plug into your phone, and then you could just, when you got home, you just take your phone, it's in the case. A lot of people use the case anyway. You can just set it on your wireless charger, it charges through the USB port. So it turns any phone into a wireless charging phone. If that makes sense. That's my thought. Alan?
Okay, I'm reading this product review that you have here, and I'm trying to figure out, well, I guess it's boiling down to what's the big deal? Because either it's not clear if this case provides the wireless charging, or if this case just lets wireless charging work through it. Totally doesn't make it, and I have no idea, because the former would indicate that the Note 3 is lame, since it doesn't have wireless charging, and the latter would indicate that whoever wrote this, or whoever read it off of whoever the manufacturer is, Samsung, or whoever read it off Samsung's promo material, got suckered in. So either way, this is lame.
Okay, so you're going to get one.
I'm going to get one for my fabulous Note 3, yes.
Absolutely. All right, so we're unanimous on that product.
Let me ask a question real quick to you guys. Aren't these wireless chargers, aren't they about 85% of what hardwiring on, plugging into a wall outlet? Isn't it about 80% capable of what hardwiring is?
You mean
what do you mean by 80% capable?
Speed-wise?
Yeah, if you're using the wireless to charge your phone, whether let's pretend for a minute it's capable. It's a Nexus 5, a Nexus 7, a Nexus 4. I know there's a few others out there. But if you lay it down on a charger, it's only about 80% as good as plugging it up. Isn't that right?
I honestly don't know. I wouldn't rule it out, but I don't know.
In what terms, though? You're talking about the speed?
Well,
or it'll only charge at 80%?
No. I'm talking about speed. At speed, it's going to take longer to charge it wirelessly than it's going to be to plug it up. And I've seen the numbers. I can't remember them. If somebody's watching, correct me. But I'm thinking, it's not, wireless charging is still not as good as plugging it up.
How does it compare with USB charging?
That's what I'm trying. That's what I'm saying. It's like 80 or 85% to the level of plugging it up. Let me Google it.
I'm gonna Bing it.
Okay.
I'm gonna Bing it and see.
I'm asking how efficient is wireless charging? Let's just take the Wikipedia as the first one up. And it's telling me that, let's see. Of course, it wouldn't be right in front of me.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't rule it out, certainly. But... And here's Bruce.
Hello, Bruce.
Hey, what's up, man?
All right. Welcome, Bruce, from Lynchburg, Virginia.
Yes.
I guess the point I was trying to make is I know it's not as efficient, okay? And it has improved since they've first introduced it. But I'm not sure that, wireless charging is going to be a preferred method of charging was the point I was trying to make.
I think it is, mostly because the way that most people will tend to use it are for long periods. So it's not going to be, hey, let me quickly, charge it up. It's, okay, let me put it down on the same place every time when I get into the office. Or let me put it down on the same place every time when I get home.
I'd love to have one by my nightstand.
Yeah,
on my nightstand,
put it on my just
by
so
my
it'll
desk.
just sit there and charge. I don't think it's too big a deal.
Okay.
And if it is something you need to charge faster, you're still going to have the plug-in charger. This is just meant to be I could just set it down and not worry about it for the next 12 hours.
And I agree with that, but where I was going with it, I think that I would look long and hard before I would pay $75 for a case for my Note 3 so that I could wirelessly charge it. That was the point I was going to make.
No, it's a valid point. And like I said, if it actually requires a case to wirelessly charge it, then the Note 3 is lame.
What if you could, your whole bed or your pillow were a wireless charger, and you could just read until you finally just collapsed, and wherever it landed, of course, then we'd have cancer risk, I guess.
I'll tell you, man, that's a Kickstarter project right there, Dan. I'm telling you.
A wireless charging pillow.
Charging pillow.
Now Duke and I, we have sleep apnea, so I'm waiting for them to come up with a CPAP machine that has a wireless charging thing on the top of it, right, Duke? I mean, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so we've solved that dilemma. I think it will take off. I think the convenience factor, especially as it gets cheaper, you know, all these things as they get cheaper, and they'll all have it. Okay, next up is this NVIDIA Tegra Note 7 update adds Always-On HDR, Android 4.3 and more. I guess this is not huge news, right? But I was interested in the HDR thing, and I think that that's neat. Of course, I'm a fan. Here's a good example. HDR is not practical for everything. This is an absolutely horrific before picture here. I imagine the camera would typically do better than that. But clearly, this is what HDR does. It takes a low, medium, and a high lit shot, combines them in all the right places, so you get this beautiful cloud, and everything's lit up perfectly. So is this significant?
I don't know. You know, as with everything else with the HDR stuff, it depends on how they're implementing the HDR, what the sacrifices are in implementing the HDR. If they did it well, wonderful. If they didn't do it well,
yeah.
The biggest complaint about pictures with the phone is the time it takes. You hit the button, you swipe, you hit the camera app, and the meteor's freaking gone by then, right? If the Russians didn't all have these dash cams, we never would have seen the meteorite. If everyone had to get out their phone, it would have been gone. So if they could speed up and give you HDR, it says enables the always-on high dynamic range camera option that uses real-time processing to snap instant HDR images without the lag usually associated with phone and tablet cameras.
Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah.
You know, it's kind of like when I was a kid and first started drawing. You know, I'd get out a pencil and get a blank sheet of paper, and I would start drawing a picture, something I had in my mind. Maybe it was a hot rod. You know, that's what I drew a lot back in the junior high school days. And I'd have a pretty good looking hot rod. You know, then I'd add a little bit more to it. Then I'd add a little bit more to it. And this otherwise really nice drawing, the more I added to it, the more gaudy it became. And after a while, it was like, you know, why did I even waste my time with that? And I think sometimes with HDR, you know, if it's overdone, and I think that's kind of where Alan's coming from. If it's done good and tastefully, I can deal with some enhancements, you know, but I don't like you know, the real fake, unrealistic looking pictures that everybody who sees it knows that it didn't really look like that, unless you're really going for something, you know, wild, you know.
A lot of photographers do that with landscapes. You know, it's been doctored, but it's still a beautiful piece of work. Mm-hmm. So you were like Bob Ross when you were a kid, Bruce. You just added, you know, kept adding stuff. Happy trees.
Yeah, too many birds, too many trees, you know.
Maybe a little squirrel lives here.
Yeah, right.
Oh my God, that guy was awesome. All right. Okay, so another win. All right, next up is this is interesting, and I guess Alan, you're a developer, so you can talk to this certainly. The Google, they added this instant the quick rating widget in the Play Store, so you could rate an app, and the developers are complaining that all of a sudden they're seeing a massive influx of 1-star ratings. Does that mean that their app sucks, or does it mean that people are pissed off that they're asked to rate? or what do you think this phenomenon is, Alan?
I've got no idea, to be perfectly honest, since I refuse to use ratings on the Play Store.
What do you mean you don't use them? You don't.
I refuse to. I don't rate any apps on. I don't rate anything on the Play Store.
And as a developer, you don't ask people to rate your app? Because I see that all the time. You know, it becomes annoying after a while. Rate my app. Rate my app. No thanks. Not later. Remind you again. You know, rate my app. Rate my app.
Remind you in how many days?
I love rating apps. I love rating apps that are good. But I think making it too simple like this might cause people who get an app and they haven't taken the time to learn it and to understand its intricacies. They haven't taken the time to research or read any reviews, and they just get it and they try. They say, this is no good, and then they give it a 1 star. And
or it doesn't work on their particular phone,
right,
and they give it 1 star. You know, even if the thing says it doesn't work on whatever, and they'll try it anyway, and then you know, I don't know.
Well, yeah, you see a lot of. I mean, you know, for instance, I got an app right now, and you know, I realize I'm getting here late. So maybe I can still have time to make it my app of the week. But when I took the over-the-air update to 4.3 on my Note 2, the 4.3 killed tethering. Foxfi would not work anymore, and so I was stuck. And I like to tether sometimes, so I found a way. You know, I had to. There was an app called Wi-Fi Tether Router, and I had to root, you know, my newly updated phone again, and in order to be able to use this particular app. But it's a great app, and it's the only solution, and so I'm really thankful for this app. But on the Play Store page, this guy has all these disclaimers because people were downloading the app, not taking the time to read it, and lowballing it. When if they would have just read, you know, this requires root, you know. It's $1.99. It requires root. I don't mind paying $1.99 for an app that will do what this one does, and it does exactly what it says it will do. But you've got to know how to work it.
Who's your carrier?
AT&T.
Were you able to download it from the Play Store, or did they didn't have it blocked?
No, I was able to download it from the Play Store, and I had to root my 4.3 Note 2 in order to be able to use it. But it's working fine.
Because Foxfi was blocked on Play for me. I had to get it from Amazon. Because Sprint, you know, tells them what they can. Sprint has the power to censor stuff. The
Right.
carriers do. Okay. All right, cool. So there we go. Next is a discussion. I saw this, and I don't want to. I mean, I don't know how much Alan wants to get into it. I don't really understand a lot of it, and I don't really have a need. I don't even have a swipe screen. I turned that off because it was a hassle. So this is an article, how to encrypt your Android device. And so it goes into a bunch of different things. It's got a video. This is from Android Authority. But I wanted to see if you guys think, have you considered doing this? I mean, obviously, if you're a spy, you'd want to do that, or a criminal, or worked in, you know, with secret stuff. If you're a developer or something, you didn't want to lose your phone, that famous phone that got, whatchamacallit,
that would have been the iPhone that was left in a bar.
The iPhone that was left in a bar. That sort of thing. I would think that they'd want to encrypt. What do you think, Alan? Is this a thing? Should we all be doing this?
I think, you know, much more important, as you pointed out, is we should actually use a lock screen. But beyond that, just how much data do you think is actually stored on your phone? Your contacts are in the cloud for the most part. Most of your apps are in the cloud. Most of your data is in the cloud when you're talking Android. So what are you worried about protecting? Your songs?
True.
You know, it's not. There are certainly people that it's useful for. It's not a bad suggestion, but a much better suggestion would be to make sure you actually put a decent lock on your lock screen and use it. Your thoughts, Bruce? Your thoughts, Duke?
And make sure that your device is listed in your Google devices so that you can get to a computer and wipe them or track them or whatever else. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I think there's a lot of people who ought to do this. And I'll just give you an example. People who travel quite a bit, who spend their time in major cities, in and out of cabs and all. You know, things happen. And those are the type of people who probably need to take the time to do this. I think for most of the people, though, as long as your device is listed with Google, you've got a way to protect your data.
And let's also realize something else. If you've got if you've got your data secured on here and you don't have a lock screen, you're just stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, even more stupid than somebody who doesn't have a lock screen.
Mm-hmm.
Next topic.
All right, and just one comment here from Vinny. He says he can just wiggle his Moto X twice, and his camera's ready to go. So I'm very jealous of Vinny. I had a flashlight app that was similar to that. You could just wiggle your device, and the flashlight would come on. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Speaking of wiggles, I have this IoT mount for my Android phone, and I'm using it for GPS. And they installed speed bumps in our apartment complex, and so I set my GPS to take me someplace I've not been before, right? And I'm looking forward to getting directions. And every time I go over the speed bump, the IoT wiggles, and then now the Google Maps says, "Do you want to offer feedback?" Because that's how you offer feedback. They take that from Waze. If you want to offer feedback like you would on Waze, so. Every time I hit a little bump in the road, oh, you got feedback for us?
Are we going to get the thing in Waze, the Waze alerts and maps? I thought they were going to do that. Huh?
It's there now.
Right. I don't see it. How do you do it?
You'll see a little icon along your route, and it'll be like a little policeman or a police car, and you tap on it, and you can see what it's about.
It says traffic sucks thanks to Waze.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that in Google Maps. Navigator.
It's there.
Yeah, it's there.
Okay. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, you live so far out in the country, there's not a lot of action happening out there where you live.
Indeed. Okay. All right. Next up, oops. Okay, next up is the Motorola. There was an interview with the CEO of Motorola, and it was kind of interesting. I mean, it's fairly short. But this is, I guess, with the local paper wherever they are. This is it with the Journal-Gazette in whatever town.
The Fort Wayne Journal-Gazette, it looks like.
Absolutely. I can't believe I'd forgotten what town they were in. But so the biggest thing is, do you guys have like an inside track? Do you get secrets from Google? And he said basically no.
Hang on. Although we're reporting this from the Fort Wayne Journal-Gazette, I would point out that the byline is the AP technology writer.
Oh.
Out of New York.
Oh, okay. So, no, because I saw it in one of the blogs and it said, original source was this. So, okay, so it's an AP story. So, what do you think? I always assume that they had. Don't you think that they get secret stuff? You know what I mean? Or are they not allowed to?
When they're allowed to. They're not going to because Google doesn't want to screw up their relationship with all the other mobile phone vendors.
At least officially. They're not going to acknowledge it, but I don't know.
Yeah. I think it would be pretty obvious if they did too much.
Well, who thought when Google made the announcement and spent $12.4 billion, who didn't think that we were going to see Motorola doing the next Nexus device? Okay, and it hasn't happened, and there's a very good reason why it hadn't happened. Google doesn't want to upset its partners.
I guess they get advice on hardware and stuff from Google probably, but maybe no secret things.
Very little from what they said. They're run as a separate company.
I'll tell you what, I'm already seeing 2014 rumors that Google will spin Motorola off to be its own independent company again because they just, their patents hadn't really worked out. They've laid off from 20-some thousand down to 3,000, and like I say, I don't think Motorola has been a good investment for Google.
Okay. All right. I guess they don't get secrets after all. Okay, next up is, this was kind of cool, and I wanted to see what you guys thought and also see if this is what other options people, if you're, there's a free Android programming course starting next month, and I saw this article. This is from late December 27th, and it's this is also Android Authority, an online university. It's University of Maryland, which does a lot of stuff with the military. A lot of folks in the military all over the world take courses to the University of Maryland, and so This course starts, it's 8 weeks long. It's directed to sophomore, junior level undergrad students who already have some Java knowledge, but it's designed for beginners. They're not expected to have studied mobile application development. And it's going to be made available through Coursera. So I assume that that's free, right? What do you think, Alan? What are the options? If someone's curious, where would you start? Something like this, or are there other options that people are using?
No, this is a pretty reasonable way to start. There's a lot of places are offering online Android development courses. This one through UMD and Coursera seems like it'll be a pretty good one. Code Academy has run them.
Right.
I've heard of other people, learning in various ways. It's incredibly popular right now, so it's certainly understandable. If you want to get into Android development, this is as good a way as any.
Yeah, I've got a nephew. He was in the Marines and he was injured and he's on full disability, but through the process of a family gathering in Florida, where all the family was gathered for a family event. It was a funeral and everything, and so it was a tough time, but it was neat, family getting together. And my daughter works for a large company that develops Drupal sites for big corporations, stuff like that. And one night, my daughter and he and his brother stayed up poolside till probably 2 o'clock in the morning talking about coding. And when I saw him a couple of weeks ago, he and his brother have already gone through several Code Academy courses on like HTML, CSS, and so forth. And he told me he was starting to get into Android programming. And then, so as soon as I heard about this story, I ring him up on the phone and I tell him about it. I think this is a great way for people to dip their toe into the water to find out if there's something that they would like to do. And I think it's great that it's offered and where the entry point allows anybody to check it out.
I'd agree. There's one concern that I've got with this and with a lot of the other online courses is that it's far too easy sometimes to just kind of say, oh, it's free, it's online. I don't need to do this assignment tonight. I can wait until tomorrow.
Yeah.
And 5 weeks in, and you suddenly start realizing it's only a 10-semester course, and you're in trouble.
Right.
So the best thing for any of these courses is to take it seriously. If you're going to be serious about it, take it seriously. It's a real course. It's got real weekly lessons. Schedule a time that you're going to tune into it every week and make sure you meet that.
Yeah, first of all, I think Coursera is pretty cool, and I know people in real life that have used Coursera for different things. A couple of people in the Tech and Coffee Hangout have taken like some programming courses, and it's very interesting to hear them talk and compare notes. And listen, Alan, what you said is exactly right. These things are real. At the end of the course, they've actually built something. Okay, it might be an asteroid game, clone, but they're really learning how to program if they take it serious.
Have you ever done anything for an iPhone or iOS, Alan? I'm just curious how you compare.
The development tools that I use try to be as cross-platform as possible. So when I develop for one, I tend to develop for the other.
Is one easier than the other, or they're the same because you're using tools that...
The tools that I use make it about the same for both. The biggest problem on the Android side is that we need to deal with far older operating systems.
Have you done any that were for sale?
I don't know the sales status on some of them.
Okay.
So I can't answer that.
Okay. I was just going to ask if you'd experienced what some folks have said about you make more money on one platform than the other. Okay. All right, cool. So yeah, I would say, all these online courses of any sort, they're best. If you're self-disciplined, then they're great. If you need to drag yourself to class, to do something and have a teacher yell at you, then maybe that's not the best option. Okay, so I guess apps of the week. Alan, what is your recommended app of the week?
Yeah, hang on a second as I queue it up. There we go. My recommended app of the week is the Times Square official ball app.
Dun, dun, dun.
Download it now so tomorrow night it can crash on you reliably. Yeah, so you'll be able to follow the tweets from the Times Square ball. Today's tweet was, let me see if I can bring up today's tweet locally again. Today's tweet was pretty good. The Times Square ball tweeted at us that he wished us a good night. He's got to run. He's got something to do tomorrow. So I hope everybody is also doing something fun tomorrow evening.
I guess it's the only app that, when used as corrected, is designed to crash at the end.
Very good, Dan.
Ba-boom, ba-boom,
Bravo.
ba-boom. All right, an excellent app to be sure. All right,
That's my
so
app, the Times Square ball app.
is it
Official.
is it like doing a video of it live?
It will have a streaming video live tomorrow night.
Okay.
Right now, it just plays replays from last year.
Have you spent hours and hours playing with this app?
I spent seconds and seconds playing with this app.
Frantically searching for a recommended app, which you will delete in 2 days. All right. Bruce, what is your recommended app of the week?
Well, I'll go ahead and share this. I'm not able to do the AirDroid thing, but I'll go ahead and share my screen. It is Wi-Fi Tether router. So if you have a Galaxy S3 or an S4 and you're with AT&T, or you have a Note 2 and you just got the over-the-air update to 4.3 Jelly Bean, first of all, let me tell you, if you have a rooted device, don't accept that over-the-air update because it will hose your Wi-Fi. And I've got several friends that was their experience, and we had to go back to get it back to stock, and then go through two previous over-the-air updates to get back to where we wanted to be. So if you've got 4.3, you took that over-the-air update and you like to tether, you lost it on AT&T, and you lost it on Verizon as well. So there's an app called Wi-Fi Tether, and I've got to say, this is not your grandmother's Wi-Fi tethering app. This has got some guts to it. If you click on this button to configure the Wi-Fi router, it takes you through all kinds of different things. I mean, obviously, you're going to name the network SSID minus Turner M, the encryption type, and the Wi-Fi password. But it gets really deep with some other things, the DHCP settings, and it's complicated enough to the point where they have created a great page, and I appreciate when a developer does this. This is a Google site that he's built on Wi-Fi, the Tether router. But when you scroll down, he goes very clearly into what you need to do, and he's got this device configuration center where he takes the time to tell you specifically how to set it up for what device you have. For instance, down here, for the Samsung Galaxy S3, use this configuration. For the for the Samsung S4, use this configuration. And of course, I was most interested in, for the Galaxy Note 2, use this configuration. And it wasn't until I got all this set up just right that it worked. But it is the only way that I have found, if you have 4.3 Jelly Bean on your Note 2 or your S4 or whatever, and you want to tether, this is the way to do it, and it works perfectly. That's my app for the week, Wi-Fi Tether router.
I have a question for you, Bruce.
Yes.
I've used, I think, FoxFi, and then once I got to Jelly Bean, it stopped using Wi-Fi, and it said you had to use Bluetooth instead. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's the case. Isn't that what you were using before you got the update and it screwed you up?
I was using FoxFi, and I just did a Wi-Fi. I didn't have to use Bluetooth. I've read some reports of people having that experience that you're describing. I never had that experience on AT&T. I would just tap to start the Wi-Fi router, and I'd be up for business. And by the way, Lynchburg finally got LTE, and it's screaming fast in the Berg here.
Awesome.
So tethering, and was really something. We just got LTE 2 weeks ago, and then I got the over-the-air update, and and I couldn't tether anymore. I finally got the ability to tether it and get some decent speeds, but all is well now.
What are you seeing if you're on a typical like
45 megabytes down and about 14 or 15 up.
Holy
Wow.
smokes.
Yep. It's smoking.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's functional. You could do a hangout from with your laptop tethered to your phone from wherever, right?
Everywhere I've done a showdown with somebody that's got Verizon in the same location and we do speed test, ATE speed has always blown away Verizon speed for
Interesting.
fastness. Yes.
Interesting. Okay, cool. Do you have any performance difference between Foxfi and this one?
No, this just works great.
Okay, so they're both equal. It's just one works and one doesn't. But as far as the speed, or
Correct.
you don't prefer one over the other, they're similar.
No, and this one's got a lot of other things. I mean, I can whitelist and blacklist, certain things on it. So it's very, very powerful.
And I see one of the helpful reviews on there says that the support's really good, which is
Yes.
important. So if you do have a peculiar thing, he'll do anything to keep you from writing a 1-star review.
There you go.
All right, Duke Carico, what is your recommended app of the week?
All right, but my app this week's Plex, and Plex for Android is not a free app. I think it's a $5 app. It's been a while, but if you don't know what Plex is, basically a Plex is it's a media server, and you put your videos, your movies, your pictures in Plex, and you can share Plex with your other devices, your Android devices. So I've got Plex running here on this system. I've actually got Plex on 2 Google TVs, and I've installed Plex on all my computers. So here's the beauty of it. If my system is sitting here in Kingsport, Tennessee, and I'm traveling, I'm out of state or whatever, I've got my grandkids with me, I can pull up through my laptop, my Google TVs, or my phone, my Nexus 7. I can pull up Plex, and here's Plex. I'm not rooted, so you can't see, but real quick, here's my movies. You can go to my library. I've got 2 movie folders. I've got my music, so I could go in and listen to my music. But one thing that I really like about Plex is Plex has channels, and these channels are like their online ABC content, NBC. I've got Crackle Movies, Fox News, CNN. So I can also view online internet content through this device. Like, for example, you probably heard me talk a lot about Twit TV. I really don't need a Twit app on this because I have Twit installed as a Plex channel, and I can pull up Twit and watch, all of the Twit network shows. So it's, like I say, it's not a free app, but it's a very versatile app if you want to access both your media and online content. It's Plex.
Can you log in, Duke? For example, like with Xfinity, I can log in with my Comcast username and password and watch CNN or MSNBC online. And can you log in that way, or you're just seeing the free content that's available?
This particular app does not allow you online access to stuff like CNN and Fox News and ESPN, those type networks.
Yeah, because I watch CNN all the time when I'm driving. I don't watch it. I mean, I have it playing, and I actually flip the phone around, so I'm not tempted. Here's the explosion. I'm trying to maintain self-discipline.
And I would hasten to add too, Duke, there is a Chrome web app that runs wonderfully on the Chromebook.
Thank you, Bruce. I meant to mention that the last update to Chromecast brought the ability to take Plex and cast it directly to Chromecast. Thank you very much.
And that's what it looks like right there.
Yep.
All
There
right.
you go.
Awesome. And then, okay, my recommended app of the week, and this is going to be odd because I don't have a pet. I'm allergic to cats. I used to have a cat and then discovered I'm allergic to them. But I thought this was cool. This is it's a 99-cent app. The Red Cross has a bunch of apps. Most of them are free. This one's 99 cents, and it's a pet first aid app. So here's just some screen captures you can look at here. you know, it's having an allergic reaction, it's bleeding. And I just thought, you know, if you're traveling, whatever, and you have some sort of issue with your dog and you're trying to figure out what it is, I thought this would be neat. So I recommend if you have a pet, you consider buying this app or check it out. The Red Cross obviously knows some stuff, but I just think that it's neat that they would take the time to do a first aid app for pets. I think that's cool. So there. And then you'll know, because obviously 99 cents is a lot cheaper than going to a vet if you can nip it in the bud, so to speak. Okay, before we close, we had one last story I saved for the end, because this is really the biggest news probably of 2013 in Android, I think. And yes, I am indeed trolling Alan. Alan, why don't you tell us what this story is? I thought this was fun.
You know, I didn't even look at this, but it sounds like CyanogenMod 11 is going to bring KitKat support to the Nexus Q. Okay? The most significant aspect of this is this now means my Nexus Q will be more advanced than my Galaxy Nexus!
And far more advanced than the host of this
Get
program.
it together, Google!
Oh, he has to do.
Thank you, Dan.
Is that the last rant of 2013?
I think that will be the last rant of 2013, at least on these shows.
Are we good then?
As long as we wrap up in the next couple of minutes so I don't have to rant about us going overtime, then yes, we're good.
Okay, folks, thank you very much. Thanks to the panel. And we do two shows. Google Plus Week is every Friday. We talk about Google Plus and technology, news, and all sorts of crazy things, sometimes politics. And Alan rants often more there than he does on this program. He's a little more reserved, I guess, recovering from a wild weekend of sorts. Google Plus Week is Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific on Friday, Google Plus Week. This program is at 9 Eastern on Monday nights, 9 Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. We started this program on January 7th, 2013. I didn't realize this. I went back to check. And so this concludes our first season. Yeah, January 7th. So this
2012?
52 episodes of our Android Week.
Yes, and I must say, as I put on my clerical collar here, that Alan's rants are glorious. And I'm so glad that I came here tonight to be part of the last rant of 2013. Fantastic.
Bruce, thank you very much for making it tonight. Appreciate that. And I think Michael will be, he has class on Mondays, so Michael Banks is like iffy during school. I think he's more of a summer guy. Duke, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you for coming in tonight. Enjoyed your apps. And Alan, as always, thank you. It's been a good year. This is
It has been a good year, Dan.
Finish of our first season. Even if your rant was relatively mild, it's okay.
I can make it more vicious if you really insist. But
if I keep going over an hour, then we'll see a rant.
Wrap it.
Thank you very much for watching, folks. We really appreciate it. I'm Dan McDermott. We'll be back Monday with another edition of our Android Week. Until then, have a wonderful new year. We'll see you in 2014. Thanks.